Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Transformers Devastation Magnus Difficulty walkthrough. We're on Chapter 4, it's called Possession, and we're going to beat the entire game playing as Optimus Prime. You might think that this sounds like a good or a bad idea, depending on your proclivity, but I think Optimus is a very good character. He's got good statistics starting out, he's got a nice emphasis on strength, he's not too quick, but he packs a punch and that helps. He's got one of the better ultimates, definitely. He's got one of the better overdrives. I think he's a really solid character, and this mission here is actually pretty short, but I'm going to do some exploring, and it's going to, bulk up the length a little bit more. But here is the introduction to the Seeker enemy. This is the first time you would normally fight this subset of creature. However, because we're on this difficulty, we've already been more than introduced to these particular types of robots in disguise. And they attack incredibly fast with their double swords, so you need to be aware of this and you need to be very careful. The people with them, all they're going to do is annoy you. You want to probably take them out first, but the moment you take your eyes off a Seeker is the moment that he comes attacking you in light speed and then chain combos you to death. It can be very annoying. And look how he dodges, man, he's really fast. Somebody asked on one of the comments on another video in this series, asking, is this game slow? Because it seems pretty slow for a character-driven action game title, and I don't think this game is slow at all. What the person's picking up on definitely is when you hit people, there is a lot of freezing that happens when hits register, and this is something that you probably don't see so much anymore because you're so used to it, but it's one of the reasons why the hits feel so good and so visceral, because they have that freezing that they do on each hit. And it enables you to continue combos, it enables you to go into vehicle attacks, and there's just an emphasis on making it feel like you're connecting. And a good fighting game that does this is Killer Instinct. The most recent Killer Instinct's got a really nice emphasis on those moments of collision where it just halts the game for a moment to make you feel badass. But with this game, there's also the focus mode, which is witch timey, which definitely slows the game down because it gives you the player an advantage. But when you're not in that and you're not attacking, this game is just as fast as any other game that I've played. Like, it is up there with the best of them. Of course, the enemy attacks are incredibly fast as well. Not quite Bayonetta 2 fast, but still, very swift. So I think it's just the general speed of a Platinum-esque action game. However, your frame of reference might be different. Oh, by the way, that was a mission where you have to shoot a lot of things, and I just do not have the guns to do it, so I trimmed out the section of me trying. And then we're going to move towards this bridge. This bridge is a really tough mission. I think it's probably the toughest mission in the game for me. So what I do to mitigate the fact that it is such a gauntlet is I skip this entire first sequence and I trigger the final two spawns. So just get in your vehicle, power down the road. Like, everything's against you here. There are people with guns off camera, there are holes in the roads, there's everything that can go wrong will go wrong on this sequence. That right there is to trigger the mines to get past this sequence. You can shoot them, but if you don't have a gun that's up to it, oh, there I go, falling off. Always good. And falling off does a lot of damage on this game too. Not only is it annoying, but it hurts. So here is the trigger for the next sequence. The ones that were behind you will pretty much have despawned. There'll be a couple still knocking around, and then you can go all the way back and let them come to you, and then kind of put them all together and beat them up. And if you do this correctly, you can make it so that you're not being constantly shot at by jets, and you just have to contend with the people up close, which is when this game is really manageable. But when the jets catch up, that's when things get annoying, so you want to try and focus on them if you can. It's a lot easier to say that though than it is to do it, because I mean, look at this, it's really hectic, and any hit that you get here does a lot of damage. So you want to really be on your ball, and when you kill both of them, or all the people that are left, there's going to be another introduction of more ground troops and more flying guys. So, it's definitely up there with a really tough section, as there's a couple shield guys left. And I do the rush attack into weapon attack, chain it into vehicle attack. So there's the flames. That was a really bad rush attack, but we made up with that one. And I think now, once this guy goes down, There we go. Bunch of Seekers, more ground troops. So I'm going to wait for him to get to me. Also, if you've got a sniper rifle, you can headshot this enemy and it does massive damage to him. You can kill him in 2 or 3 shots depending on your strength. There was a shot from a plane. Like, there's another shot, puts me in the hole, does even more damage. See what I mean? Like, it soon adds up. If there was no flying enemies on this section, I'd have no problem with it. If the bridge was complete, I'd have no issue. But those 2 things added in with everything else make it very particular. And if you don't have, you know, a really good killing weapon here, this is a tough fight. But it's just, you get shot so much. And I think that's literally why I think this is probably the hardest fight in the game. Because it's full of just nuisances. Like, there are fights where you do so many more difficult, more challenging enemies, but it's the douchebags that really resonate with me. Because you have to contend with exterior factors that make fighting harder. And if you come back here with better gear, it's probably much more manageable. But at this moment in time, definitely felt the length of this particular mission. So SS ranking that is not going to be too bad, because you've got a lot of things to kill. It's just the frustration factor of trying to no damage it, because it is a very long fight with a lot of opportunity to take damage that perhaps is harder to avoid than I wish it would be. But here is Motormaster. This is another mission that I think is kind of shitty, because you can kill Motormaster before you get to the finish line, and it doesn't put him out of commission. He will recover and beat you in this race, even if you kill him, which I just think is really dumb. Why does he just not move, and then when we get to the area where you're meant to fight him, the cutscene triggers and he's there? I don't understand him being able to recover after a massive arse whooping, and then beating me on this race when I'm way ahead of him. Like, it's some serious fucking rubber banding bullshit. But this guy is a cream puff as well. A lot of his moves are very easy to dodge, very easy to get focus, and then from there on you can keep him in the air, really punish him, really do some good damage. He doesn't seem to armor through many hits, so you don't have to worry too much about him like you did that tank on the last level. So you can really, really just beat this guy up. And look, we even hit him with a 360 move that gave us a vehicle attack. The Tatsuzanko didn't work, unfortunately. Just absolutely ruining him. Another, again, with a vehicle attack. Into gun, into vehicle. Like, now he's going to run... Oh no, he's dead. And watch, look at the minimap. Watch for the red dot. So, this is me going pretty much as fast as you can go. I'm not going to stop for the chests, even though every part of my body wants me to. And let's just see when he turns up. So I break that window, which is perhaps not the best choice. Hey, he's already here! Look, he's here! He's already recovered the bitch! Oh, it frustrates me so much. Like, if you beat him up, he should be down, son. There should be none of that. You should be able to take your time here and get everything. But instead, it wants this delusion of, gotta go fast, really hectic, it's raining. And it just... I've never been a fan of that in any game. Like, I like the illusion of tension and gotta go fast, but I don't actually like having to go fast. There is nothing worse than when it's in one of these moments and the first thing you do is turn around to see if there's a collectible and wander off, and then you instantly fail. Somebody got away. Somebody got away. Like, fuck you, dude. Let me play. Stop punishing me for exploring because you want this cinematic bullshit. And I'm over here, like, with a monitor at the side of me watching something completely unrelated. I don't care about your drama or delusions thereof. Like, come on, let me play my way. You did be ignorant. But here's Motormaster. We've already embarrassed him once. He's using the sword, by the way, that we're going to get, that does insane damage. Like, really, really cool damage. I tried to uppercut him, it didn't work. So if you don't know, there is a move you can buy where you press B and Y at the same time, and you do like a traditional uppercut, and it launches people. And sometimes you can follow it up with a vehicle attack to go in the air and attack them. But just like the 360 attack, just like the Tetsuzanko, there are times where it doesn't trigger the vehicle move. So you just kind of do it, and then you look like a tit stood there like, thought it'd work, and then it doesn't. But Wheeljack is introducing you to the concept of follow the coloured distance symbol thing. It's kind of like the detective mode moments from Batman, only without the weird vision. It's a nice distraction, considering we're just retracing our steps through a city we've retraced our steps through 3 or 4 times already. This was rough. Completely forgot that that was blowing me, so I ended up getting blown through all the bloody lasers. And if you're wondering what's up with Optimus, why he's all greenified, it's because I have used an item that increases my drop rate. And I need to get into the habit of using them more so I can capitalise on the things that get dropped, but I never do it. These games condition you not to use items, because in the older versions of them, they punished you massively for using them. So it was one of those things where you learnt to play without them, and it's one of those parts of gaming that can be very difficult to just let it go. And I play all games like this now because of the way that the early Devil May Crys and things educated me on how they should be played. And some games are not as fun without items, it must be said. Some games are so much more difficult, but it's one of those things I just can't get away from because it's just the way I play now. It's more a way of me and my personality, more so than it is the game anymore, because you've got a choice and I just kind of choose not to. So if you've ever watched my videos or my guides and things and you've wondered why I don't put an emphasis on getting more HP or using tons of healing items, is because it's just not my thing. I think certain games are different. Like, in games where you don't get healing, and you have to heal yourself, that's completely different. Like, RPGs are all over the place with that, where you've got to use potions and things, because if you don't, you can't physically dodge things, you just tank them with your face, and, you know, you don't know when the computer's going to attack and things, so RPGs can be very difficult to do without items. It becomes more about dice rolls and luck, which, that's not fun. But if I can affect the game in a way that enables me to not take the damage, then I will not waste time healing it, I will just try and learn to dodge it, and it can be a very frustrating procedure and a process that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but it does make you a better player. And those crucibles and that trial by fire, that learning by doing, and learning by dying is probably a better way of saying it, is literally what speeds up, you know, the development process of your skills. Because if you start a game on its hardest difficulty and you play that game, you know, without relying on a lot of the facilities that the game gives you to make it easier, you are facing down the game at its most masochistic, and there is no easy path at that point except to give up. And I would never tell people that I'm a good gamer, because I think it's too subjective. It's one of those things where I would rather say that I'm not a quitter. You know, the greatest skill I have when it comes to video games is my stubbornness. And if something's beating me up, I want to learn how to beat it up back, and I want to embarrass it the way it embarrassed me. And that is a mentality that it can take you really, really far in games. It's not always fun, and it can be a fucking nightmare. Speaking of nightmares, a lot of people think that these are the hardest parts of the game where you have to defend Wheeljack. I don't think they are. I think on the surface they are, because protection missions suck and they're always nerve-wracking because you're always worried about somebody else and you're putting yourself in danger so you can protect somebody else, which is really, really stupid. But this is done really well, because when he's not being hit, he regenerates his life. And you can wear pieces of equipment that give him more health regeneration, I think, or give him more life, because there are abilities called ally HP up. So if you're having trouble with these sequences, just wear a few of those and do your best to kill people. Like, I did this one attempt. No, sorry, I think this was 2 attempts on Magnus, but on Prime, I did it 1 attempt. Because I knew the spawns, I knew the patterns of enemies, and I knew exactly when to use my ultimate attack. Because when Wheeljack starts getting hit, it does really, really big damage. But they're limited to doing their movesets, and the more annoying stuff is like the beetles. If the beetles start doing that aerial thunder raid thing, then they can hit him from any range. It's really, really bad. But you want to use your map as well. Your map is really useful here, because if you see any red dots near him, where I'm not paying attention at all, the game does tell you, your dog, he's dying, so I'm probably going to use my ultimate here. So, because look how low his life is. God, I'm dancing with death. I do not recommend doing what I just did then, folks, but it worked. And now watch his life, watch it go up. How beautiful is that? How can you complain about that for game design wise? You might not like protection missions. Nobody likes protection missions. Not even the guy who invented them likes them anymore. Like, you've got to think that, haven't you, with developers? How many developers do you think who come up with these ideas for interesting scenarios in games don't actually like playing games that much, or aren't the biggest fan of their own games? There's got to be a few. Which is why I will always say, if there is something that I think is really shitty in a game, where it's a terrible checkpoint or it's completely unrealistic and obnoxious and nasty for the sake of being nasty, it's counter the player, I want to see the dev do it. If the dev can't do it, he should either be punched in the face or it should be removed from the fucking game. That simple. Because you know these devs can't do it, and all it is that they've not took the time to program a proper difficulty. They've just tweaked a few sliders and they've not tested it well enough, so when they get to these super hard bits that, you know, Johnny Nobody like me and yourself who's listening to this, we get to these hard difficulties, we get to these moments, and it's like, did anybody fucking play this? This is horrible. This is completely unwinnable until you get that one lucky bullshit streak. And of course that's nothing in this game, because this game is wonderful. But there are so many games I've played where you think to yourself, how did anybody think that this was a good idea? And does it mean that they can't be done? A lot of the times, no, they can be done, but they're not fun. And I want a fun challenge. I always want a fun challenge. Challenge for the sake of challenge is not a fun challenge, dude. It just isn't. It's not how anything should be designed. And it's one of the greatest misconceptions towards the Souls series, where people are like, oh, they just make it hard so it's hard, you know, so you've got to keep dying. And like, no. You don't have to die on those games. It's just death comes swiftly, and it comes without you realising it's all up in your face, you know, showering you with its liquid essence. A failure. But here comes the big guys. These are the ones you want to worry about because they've got big sweeping hits, but they don't actually hurt Wheeljack as much as you think they would. So that sequence is intimidating, but it's not hard, guys. And then watch that! Menasor is so much faster, dude. This is the biggest shock to the system. You're going to see me panic evade more times against this dude than any enemy in this game, because this guy attacks real fast. But you can still react to it, because he does a wind-up. And the wind-up is the cue to dodge, because if you don't, you're going to get hit. This dude's a bitch. And everybody's worrying about Menasor and Devastator at the same time. Do not worry about that fight, guys. That fight is really manageable, even on Prime, because you get so much focus if you know the movesets. You've just got to be aware that you're going to take a few hits because you can't see a thing. It's literally this massive celebration of mechs and sparks and glowy lights and insanity. And that gun's very fast as well. But do you remember the gun I used where it fired those slow-moving orbs of electricity? It's the weapon this dude's using, which I think is really cool that you get the boss weapons. But right there, you saw the Transformer's head. This is a checkpoint, which means if we fuck up now, we go from this moment here. And I left way too much of that cutscene in, but, you know, it's a cool cutscene, so I don't mind. It's only a transitional one. Here comes the weird whirlpool thing that I don't know how to dodge. And then he shotguns me in the air, but I managed to dodge that because I know how to dodge that. Here he comes! Oh. That's so scary, that when you know he's going to attack as soon as it speeds up, but you're not too sure if you should evade immediately or wait and evade. It's best to just evade. Here he comes. Don't know why I didn't rush attack then. I'll try and rush combo him. But do you see what I mean? It's a really manageable fight. The dude just moves stupid fast. Like, he moves so quick. The music's great as well. The music's going absolutely nuts. And there he goes. No damage. S rank. And that is an achievement for doing that, if you're inclined that way. And there goes Menasor. So thank you very much for watching, folks. I hope these videos are helping. Here's the result screen to show it's definitely on Magnus. And as always, you take care now.